Hey, Jody Holland here with the Psyche of Success vlog. Glad to have you guys back. Today we're going to be talking about corrective employee counseling, or like I like to call it, advanced behavior change in other people. If you've ever wanted to learn how to get other people to do what you wanted them to do, this is the episode for you. Make sure you look in the description below and follow the vlog. And I mean subscribe, not just follow. Follow me on Twitter at Jody and Holland, and look for me on Facebook, Jody Holland Training and Speaking. Doing all kinds of cool stuff. I want you to also make sure and submit your questions. If you have a specific question about this episode or something that you've dealt with that you want help with, send it to me. You can send it to success@jodyholland.com, and I'll help answer those questions for you and make it all good. Here we go. Today we're going to be talking about corrective counseling, the next chapter, and yay, I'm a supervisor. Oh man, I'm a supervisor. In this course, I want you to understand that when we're trying to get people to behave in the right way, what we're really trying to do is get into their mind in such a way that they go, that was my choice and I wanted to change. The worst thing that we can do is to make people feel like they have to change for us. The best thing is to get them to think, I wanted to. That was my idea. The key in creating change really comes down to what's called the locus of control. The locus of control will either be internal, my choice, it's within my control, I'm doing what I want to do, or it will be external, not within my control, I can't make this happen, I can't do whatever. You find that a lot of people throughout life, whether you're talking about your employees at work or even family members, if they have that external locus of control as their primary way of looking at the world, they're always coming in going, oh, this messed up, but it's not my fault. It was the devil that made me do it. It's always something else when it's an external locus of control. When it's internal, it's, okay, let me look at the series of choices that I made that put me where I'm at. The simple and somewhat harsh reality is you are who you are and where you are because you chose to be there. Every choice that you've made in your life has led up to this moment. If you want to be someone else or have something else or accomplish something else, you just have to learn to make new choices. People change only when they have the right understanding of their level of control in the workplace. So employees fail for some very specific reasons. The first reason is they don't know what they're doing. This actually has become more common in the last generation because the simple reality is we're so stinking busy that we're not onboarding and training people at the depth that we need to. Consider the fact that the millennial generation grew up with a lot of structure. They were in daycare programs, which were very organized. They were in after-school programs. They were in organized sports. They didn't have a lot of pickup sports, playing basketball in the park or sandlot baseball or anything like that. It was always organized. When they go to work, their expectation is to have that same model. It still needs to be very organized and very systematic. They're looking for you to have a 30, 60, and 90-day plan when they go to work for you in order to help them become successful and learn everything they need to know. If you don't invest in the right onboarding program, you will have a lot of behavioral problems. That lack of knowledge is a primary reason for that generation for failing. The second is a lack of clear expectations. I've hit on this several times, so I'm not going to go in depth, but just remember, what do you want? When do you want it? How will you measure it? If you have those three things in there, you've set a clear expectation. The next is a lack of ability. Very seldom do we actually hire people that can't do the job. More often, we hire people and then we don't train them to do the job. Ability and trained skill are not the same thing. Ability is they don't have the capacity to learn the job, and therefore we never should have hired them in the first place. If that's the case in your workplace, you need to go back and look at the way that you're hiring and go, man, I need some better behavioral questions and a few tests in here to make sure we do this the right way. The fourth reason, and this is the toughie, is a lack of engagement. If we have not created the right culture, people will not be engaged in our culture and therefore not motivated, not driven, not coached, and not performing. That is actually the primary reason in today's workforce that people don't perform is they're not engaged. The Gallup organization says that you could look at it like a 10-person bicycle. 2 people pedaling like crazy trying to go as far as they can. 2 people hitting the brakes as hard as they can, fully disengaged. And 6 people coasting, whee! I just want to see where this goes. Those 6 people in the middle, Those are the ones that can be engaged if you just set the culture right. The two on the back of the bike hitting the brakes, you need to either groom them or broom them. There ain't no third direction. You need to figure out if they're gonna move up to being average or move out and have the opportunity to excel for someone else. The reason that we do what we do is that cue, response, reward system. Charles Duhigg talked about this in his book, The Power of Habit. He says there is a cue or a triggering event, and we have a click-whir response. We've been conditioned to behave in a certain way through reinforcement of that behavior. When you're coaching someone, like you're showing appreciation, like I said in a previous vlog, you want to make sure that you say, here's the behavior, here's the feeling I have about the behavior, here's the positive impact. That is an appreciation message, and it's positive conditioning towards that behavior. Same thing with conflict resolution. When you are conditioning them to stop a behavior, it's behavior, feeling, impact, and then you add reflective listening and my expectation. When you do that, you're conditioning the response. The cue is still there, the reward is still there. It's the belief and response that we're changing. We have to make sure that we create the right triggers for them to behave the way that we want to. Think about this. My kid one time colored on the wall with lipstick. Your kid may have done the same thing, I don't know. But she drew a beautiful work of art at 3 years old with mama's lipstick. I come in and I ask the natural question, why did you do that? Her response, I don't know. Fast forward, now you're looking at your employees, 35, 40 years old, and they do something that's just crazy. It makes no sense. And you go, why did you do that? And they go, I don't know. It's the same response at 3 or 35. They don't know why they did it if you ask the question, why? Here's the key. That's the wrong question. You can't ask the question why and expect to get something good from them. You've got to be able to modify your question set in order to get the right response. You have to ask yourself, what's my point? Is my point to make this better and never have to deal with it again? Or is my point to prove a point, assign blame, make them feel bad, put them in their place, or just express my anger and frustration? If you're like me, ultimately, I just don't want to deal with it again. I want to fix the problem and move forward. So you've got to back away from asking the question, why? When you ask why, they will either explain it though, I was in control or I was not in control. 99 out of 100 times, just asking the question why, you'll explain it not in control. Another way you could look at it is, let's say I'm walking down the street, and I trip and I fall down. Well, obviously first I'm going to see if anybody saw me, and then I'm going to brush myself off. I'm going to look next to see what caused me to trip. I'm not naturally going to think, oh, I'm a clumsy oaf, I should pick my feet up better. I'm going to look and see that there was a crack in the sidewalk, or there was a slippery floor, or there was something. I'm looking to blame something outside of myself. That's the natural human tendency. We want to look for a cause outside of us first, and if we can't find that cause, then we'll internalize it. So your activating event, your belief and your label about the event, your behavior, and then your consequence. You learned these in the coaching course, you learned them again in the conflict resolution. Now you're being able to look at it a little bit further. What we want to do is understand how we get to that internal locus of control. So I'm going to ask a series of questions. Can you walk me through everything that happened? And I'm going to write out as they're talking, you did this, and you did this, and you did this, and you did this. What's really important is I cannot show judgment when I'm getting them to walk me through. If they say, okay, well, and then I did this, and then I called this person this name, if I go, what? Then I've cut them off. I've got to remain non-judgmental as they explain their steps. The second thing I've got to do is say, okay, now going back through these steps, at which step could you have done something different that would have gotten us the result we wanted? Very open expression non-verbally. I'm inviting good information and I'm just letting them talk. I'm using my listening skills again. So they go through and describe, well, at this step, okay, why that step? They describe why that step. Then the most important question is, moving forward, in order to always get this result, what is it that you can do differently? I don't want to tell them what to do. If I say, look, you messed that up, here's what you did, you need to do this from now on. which is what most managers out there are doing, all I'm doing is saying, let's keep that locus of control outside of you. It's all my fault, not yours. I want them to own it. When they own it, they change it. When something happens in your workplace and you want a new behavior, you have to focus very specifically on the steps, on the point of attribution or explanation, and what they are going to do next. I think the big mistake that we make is we think, well, I want to be a servant leader. I want everyone to feel loved and cared for. Great, I do too, but to love and care for people in the right way, I need them to know how to do it next time. I need them to perform. We don't do anybody any behaviors if we do their job for them. We've taken away their ability to succeed. So instead of servant leadership being that I'll do it for you and asking questions like, well, what do I need to do for you in order for you to do X next time? I'm going to ask it, what are you going to put in place so that you accomplish X next time? All of the ownership stays with them. And when I make sure that the ownership stays with them, they give me a better behavior next time. You will be absolutely floored at how well this works. When you're trying to create solid and lasting behavior change, it is about getting them to control themselves. If this doesn't work, because that's a question I get quite a bit, well, what if I tried coaching, Jody, and I resolved conflict and that didn't work, and now I'm doing this corrective counseling and that doesn't work? Keep in mind that roughly 16% of the working population is non-performers. Look at your workforce. You have 100 people, 16 of them don't want to perform because their definition of self is non-performance. There isn't anything that you can do to make them a top performer. You can set up the right environment and they can choose it, but you can't make them. If they continue to choose that, you lay out their options. I have laid out my expectations for you. I've talked to you about what I wanted. You have identified points where you could have done something different, and yet you continue to choose not to do it the way that I'm asking. I need you to make a choice in the next 24 hours. I want you here. I want you to be successful here. But that means that you have to choose to do these things. It is your choice and I can't make you. If you choose not to, you're choosing not to work here. If you choose to do what I want you to do, you're choosing to be here and to be a top performer. The choice is yours. I want you to go home tonight and think about it, and I need your answer in the next 24 hours. Please understand I will hold you completely accountable for your choice. If you choose to stay, there are no exceptions. You must perform in this way. If you choose to go, I totally understand it and I will accept your letter of resignation. By forcing a choice, what you find is you don't have to fire near as many people. The ones that choose not to perform consistently will choose to leave. And unfortunately, that's their choice. But you'll find that there's a lot of people that once they're in a forced choice model will go, wow, they're like really serious about this. I think I'm going to do it the right way from now on. Corrective counseling is the next step beyond coaching. It's when the coaching didn't do the trick and you need to be a little more direct about it. So you have to be willing to have that conversation that says, I need you to make a choice. Choose to do it right or choose to go away. I'm fine with either choice, but you have 24 hours to make that choice. By forcing the choice, you get them to move forward or move out. Back to what Jeffrey Fox once said, groom them or broom them. That's what I want you to do. Get the top performers rewarded, the bottom performers out of there, and the average people moving up. That makes your life a lot easier, a lot less stressful, makes your company more successful. This has been Jody Holland with Corrective Counseling and Advanced Behavior Change on the Psyche of Success vlog. Make sure you go pick up a copy of Yay, I'm a Supervisor. Oh man, I'm a supervisor, now what? You can download it on Audible, you can pick it up on Kindle, you can even buy it on Amazon. Shoot, you can even give me a call and we'll sell you one. I would love to have your questions. I know on this episode in particular, lots of people have questions about how they deal with stuff. Send me your questions. We'll do a whole episode just on how you solve the problems that you're dealing with at work. Make sure you check out the description, subscribe to the vlog, make sure that you follow me on Twitter at Jody N. Holland, and also go to Facebook and look for Jody Holland Training and Speaking. Can't wait to connect with you further. Can't wait to help you find your psyche of success.